Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to our welcome to all of our vast, sundry, and diverse internet audience, which is made up solely of, well, probably me, if I rewatch this later for archival purposes.
I have watched a surprising amount of these, just for the record.
And then there's always that one guy in Ukraine that watches them.
Yeah, there's that one guy.
Hi,
Um,
Ukraine!
Hi, Ukraine.
Whoop.
Which is weird because these aren't public videos. Anyway, but it's the Ukraine. They get lots of things that aren't public. Um, all right. Well, we are back to Scenic Mirkwood. This is episode 77 of the Darkening of Mirkwood. And it is the year 2962. When last we left our heroes, Narvi the Road Warden, the famous slayer of 16 trolls with his own hands,
That's right.
and together with his famous companions, the champions of the Fenbridge, had agreed to aid Frar the Beardless and his brother Flor in slaying 3 trolls that were waylaying travelers on the western end of the Elf Path. Arriving at Frar's woodland hideout, the party met his brother, the woodcafty Flor, and learned about the long and hard history of the dwarves of the Great Elf. They drank together, laughed together, and slept. Together, but
Together?
not together. Anyway. And when the grey dawn shone over Mirkwood-ish, they made their way towards Cuimenan, the grove of piercing arches, a stand of great yew trees where the trolls had made their camp. After considerable planning, all of it highly approved of by Flor, the party began to lay their trap, only to realize that they were themselves in a trap. 7 trolls ambushed the party from all sides, led by the huge Basher, a fearsome hill troll chief. Illyri and Ranni fled, and Narvi fell within the first few seconds of the fight. Duvaniel managed to use her wood elf magic to lure most of the trolls away, while Basher made off with the unconscious Narvi through the woods. Duvaniel pursued, with Warsong following from a distance, but Basher spotted Duvaniel, although not Warsong, and ambushed her. Duvaniel again managed to nearly talk the troll down before he struck her with his mighty stone hammer, knocking her unconscious. Too weary to fight on, Warsong returned to find the others, and with a now devastated Frar, they returned to his hideout to rest for the night. In the meantime, Basher carried the unconscious and broken bodies of Narvi and Duvaniel to lay at the feet of his mistress, the Morwen. And that is where we are going to pick up tonight. So I needed to first of all know the last thing that had happened is that Ranni, Warsong, and Illyri, weary and kind of exhausted from the battle, had... Go to bed, Tirza. Okay.
Hi.
Okay, go to bed now. Close the door. Wounded and weary from the battle, Warsong, Illyri, and Ranni had decided to go back with Frar to his woodland hideout to rest before taking up the trail of Duvaniel and Narvi again. Is that still the plan?
Yeah. I think so. I mean,
The woods are full of 6 really pissed off stone trolls currently hunting for you guys. Some of you are at least not quite yourselves after the battle. All right, well, that being the case, we will start with Narvi and Duvaniel. Narvi and Duvaniel. When you come to, you find that your hands and feet are bound behind your backs with leather thongs. You've been stripped of your weapons, your armor, and any other items of value. And these have all been heaped together across the dim, torchlit clearing on the other side of an enormous stone well. The stones around the mouth of the well are black, although if it's with slime or algae, or blood. It is difficult to tell in the flickering torchlight, but now and then, as one of the flames spurts up, you almost think that you can see writing around the stones, around the well's mouth. But the well is not your immediate concern, for standing around you, you see 12 white goblins. Their skins and hands and faces are completely white. And at this distance, you notice that they seem to be powdered with some kind of a fine chalk. The only exception are their eyes, which are highlighted by red and yellow paint to give them an even more devilish appearance than usual. They are chanting slowly. Standing immediately above you, you smell him before you see him, is the massive form of Basher. Hands folded across his chest, and though neither of you have spent just a whole lot of time with trolls, though you certainly spent more time with him than you'd like, he seems to have something like a satisfied expression, almost smug, on his face. As you kind of turn in the direction that he is looking, you see, off to your left, standing somewhat between you and the well, about 15 feet away, a beautiful, dark-haired woman, standing tall, her hair bound with a single white gem, her eyes glittering in the torchlight. And she looks at you, Narvi, and she says, "Well, well, Road Warden. It is a strange turn of fate which has brought you to me this night. I had meant to snare an elf lord of the wood. You will not serve that purpose nearly so well. You see," she began slowly pacing away from you around the mouth of the well, "your kind are made of too strong stuff to be reliable for anything more than the sort of petty treachery of Floor. And even that was born out of his own sad, predictable greed. Not my doing at all. But I have not forgotten that day in the marsh." By this time, she's reached the pile where your gear has been laid, and she reaches down and she picks up your war mask, holds it up to the torchlight, turning it over with a faint smile on her face. "I have not forgotten how you and your companions thwarted my plans, or how you burned my home and my tapestry to the ground. I have not forgotten even how the elf witch escaped my reach. But you see, Road Warden, I am patient. Far beyond even the long memories of Durin's folk. I am only sorry that you will not live to see your friends, your loved ones, suffer. Tonight, Kona lies cold in her bed. The halfling grows weary of her long life and longs for home. Astrid Lakewoman revels in the bliss of her wedded life because she does not know what is coming. All the east is rising. And it is born on a wind of death.
Can Duvaniel tell if she's doing any magic when she's making this monologue?
Actually, yes. Both of you give me a corruption test, please.
That's not quite what he was asking.
TN 17.
Oh,
Ooh.
All right.
nice.
You are
nice.
both, for the moment, unaffected by the music.
First time I have bounced my head off a troll's butt for mile after mile. I assure you it is not. He's not saying that.
For the moment, you are both unaffected by the music of the Morwen's voice. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Can I roll? I'd like to kind of assess the territory around me for possible escape or strategic advantage against battle.
Yes. Give me a battle roll.
While he's doing that, if I can, using either maybe Mirkwood lore or Rhymes of lore, can I tell if these little white goblin dudes are doing, or what they're chanting, if they're chanting something familiar?
Yes. I will say, with your Rhymes of Lore, that'll be your trait to invoke the roll, so give me a lore roll.
And I assume our fellowship pools and courage is still what it was at the beginning of last session, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's a TN 14?
Sure.
I could hit it if I spent a point of hope. Well, got 5 point, 5 hope, and 3 shadow.
And just like on a die.
Yeah, it's a good point. Let's go ahead and spend it. All right, so I'm gonna bump that up another 8 because it's my favorite, and that's gonna let me hit the 14.
How
All
much
right.
does our endurance increase now that we're awake? I'm still at 0.
It'll go up by your basic heart.
Okay, so I'm not dead. That's good. Okay.
So your battle roll, were you spending any hope on that, Narvi?
I don't really have much hope to spare. So no, especially not with corruption tests.
All right. So, Duvaniel, they are chanting a number of phrases in which you very clearly assume to be the black speech, although the exact dialect, the dialects of the black speech among the various orc tribes are so fractured and obscure that it is difficult to make it out. It sounds something like it's something along the lines of Ash dautas vrasu blatlat nar u dautas nar mat kor ishi. The only phrases that you can make out that you recognize are the phrase dautas or udautas, which translates roughly to mighty one or strong one, and
Praising Basher or
kor ishi. Kor ishi is he who arises in darkness.
Oh, lovely. So are they summoning something out of the pit? Is that what?
It doesn't seem like they're summoning something out of the pit. I'll just say with a great success. The Mighty One and the One Who Arises from Darkness are names which could be applied to Sauron. They could also be applied to the original Dark Lord.
Okay.
She holds the war mask up in front of her, and she says, "Congratulate yourself, Road Warden. In the many long years I have served my master, very few, I will not say none, but very few mortals have earned such personal attention. You will be the first fruits of my vengeance. Your beloved will wander in despair and madness. Your friends will feel the pain of everything I have lost since the Lords of the West drowned Numenor, great Numenor, because they were jealous of its majesty and fearful of its children. Asfrid will hold a lifeless child in her hands, while Ceowina slips slowly into madness. All of this I will do. And when the kingdoms of the Northmen are ground into dust, when the servant swords of the Easterlings run red with the blood of elves and dwarves, then the Morwen shall be queen in the north, beautiful and terrible as the sea aroused in its wrath, and my kingdom shall last until the world is unmade. Unfortunately, you will not be alive to see it." And she takes the war mask and she chunks it down the well. You hear a clang as it hits the side of the stone, another clang as it ricochets.
Richard?
Yep,
He froze.
yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You hear a clang as it hits the side of the stone inside the well, another clang as it ricochets, and then you wait a beat for the sound of it hitting bottom. But you hear nothing.
Fantastic.
At this point, a drum begins to beat from where
Oh.
you cannot see. And the orcs increase their chanting and begin clawing at their chests. Razor-sharp talons digging deep into the chalked white flesh and rending it from their chest as black blood begins to spurt out and flow on the ground. They become increasingly agitated. Their chant now screams at the top of their lungs, which nonetheless the trees overhead seem to absorb and deaden. And she turns to Basher, and she gives him a nod. And Basher picks you up, Narvi, by the scruff of your neck, and with one hand held out in front of him, begins to carry you towards the mouth of the well.
Real quick, what light sources are there around?
There are flickering torches,
Okay.
a number of them.
Can I do the enchanted sleep light?
You certainly may.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, if nothing else, maybe we'll shut some of these goblins up. Okay.
If you're falling, you might as well try to fly.
So I'm gonna go ahead and spend a point of hope. Take me down to. I guess I'm miserable now. That's cool.
As you kind of turn towards one of the lights and begin to whisper underneath your breath, the Morwen lifts a finger, and you feel the breath catches in your throat. And she says, "Only dreams now." You are out the point of hope, though.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Narvi, you were being carried by Basher to the mouth of the well.
right. I am going to.
Either
Uh,
way.
how have I? Okay, so obviously I assume I've been disarmed, right?
You have no gear. You have no armor.
Okay.
Um, your hands are tied behind your back, and your feet are bound.
I am going. Where am I in relation to Morwen?
The Morwen is on the other side of the well from you, about 10 feet back from its mouth. You are being carried towards the well, and therefore towards her. But there is about a 15-foot well mouth between the two of you.
Okay. I'm going to spit and dash her face.
Okay. He's holding you by the scruff of your neck, so you kind of like try to twist around, and the most you can do is sort of spit to one side. And the Morwen lifts her hands. Now we will sacrifice to the powers of darkness in your blood, and with your blood we will honor him who of old watered the earth with the blood of gods and elves. Now, Melkor, he who arises in might, accept this the offering of your servant, and give to me the life immortal.
All
And
right.
I'm bound with rope, right?
leather thongs, but yes.
With leather thongs. Can I roll a craft roll to attempt to untie them? What's bound or what's around my wrist?
Craft doesn't really cover that. If you'd like to make an athletics roll to try to break or wiggle free, you may do so.
While she is talking and otherwise busy, can I try and flare the lights just to stun everybody?
Uh,
I'm like totally choked out, can't make a noise.
you can certainly try.
Okay, she's busy talking and basically telling everybody that Narvi's going to be taste delicious. Assuming the goblins are thinking. And now I'm going to spend another point of hope. And I'm going to try and do the whole flare thing.
Duvaniel, your eyes begin to haze over. As you look down at the wound in your side, you can see that it has been staunched with some kind of herb that you do not recognize. But whatever it is black, and the leaves have small abscesses on them. And the plaster is beginning to come loose as the blood starts to flow freely again. And you are unable, whether it is some magic of the glade, whether it is the Morwen's doing, or whether it is the hallucinatory effect of these herbs, you are unable to flare the lights.
Okay.
So Narvi, you got a 10.
Yep.
Just Ben, because it sort of feels like you're about to be chucked into a large pit and eaten by something.
Basher brings you up to the edge of the well and drops you about 1.5 feet from the ledge.
Okay.
The drum beats increase as the orcs are now screaming horribly. And as you lay there, Narvi, and you try to push up on your elbows, you hear as a huge black tentacle whips up from the well,
That's not good.
wraps around your chest, and begins pulling you down.
Athletics again?
In this case, it's just gonna roll to hit you.
Just gonna roll to eat me.
I mean, you can attempt athletics if you'd like to try to break away. I will say it will be a pretty high TN, because in addition to you're still bound, and this thing has you. So go ahead and give me an athletics roll.
I think that's my best bet. I don't think that I could inspire my way out of this or persuade at this point.
Crap. What the heck?
Narvi.
No.
The black tentacle constricts around your chest, and as you feel your ribs crack,
Crap also applies.
you also crap yourself. As you feel your ribs crack, you are pulled down into the blackness of the well, and you know no more.
That's probably good. Honestly, that's good.
Ooh. That's it.
Duvaniel,
So how many hit points do I take?
all of the hit points.
Yes, I'm unconscious.
You have been gathered to the halls of your fathers. Duvaniel. The Morwen turns and seems to notice you, except for just a moment ago. It's really the first time that she's looked at you. And as whatever the thing in the well is pulls Narvi down, without a scream or even so much as a whimper, you see the Morwen seems to shudder almost with pleasure. Now then, my wayward elf, what to do with you? From all I have heard of you, from my friends, I might do well simply to send you back to your masters. You've done much to sow dissent among these so-called free peoples. There is darkness in you. There is power, too. You might be a useful tool in the right hands. I could, of course, take you away to my dungeons and let you languish there in chains for, I don't know, 100 or so years, until your spirit was broken. I might give you into the hands of my master, or to those who dwell in Dol Guldur. In the houses of lamentation, you would perhaps last a week, a moon. I think a week. You would hang naked before the lidless eye until you begged him to consume you. And then he would send you out in the world again, a slave to do his bidding. Or you could join me willingly. You must know that the darkness is rising. Thranduil's little kingdom will not long endure against the powers that are arrayed against him. Think, you could be the Lady of the Wood, hold his scepter, wear his crown, and his ring. The forest would be yours to be a bastion, or a labyrinth, or a garden. Whatsoever you choose, only bow the knee before me. At this point, Basher has come back over to you and raised you up by your hair and plants you on your knees.
Well, it looks, Lady of the Wood, it looks as if I am already on my knees.
What will it be? I could break you. I could sacrifice you.
Duvaniel sort of raises her chin and my brother has gone on
Your
across this
brother, yes.
and my mother this year. And all that is left to me is my father and this cruel world, which loves me not. No, I tried to save. The only reason I'm here is because I tried to save that dwarf, and that dwarf hated me.
They are an untrustworthy bunch, I'm told. You can never
And
trust dealings with dwarves. But you can trust me, Duvaniel. Because I might kill you. I might break your will. I might do any number of unspeakably painful things to the people that you love. But I would never lie to you. Lies are for the weak. And we are not weak, Duvaniel. You know, you've seen it. The only thing that matters in this world is life and power.
I have held.
You wanted the lamp? You could have the lamp. You could have 1,000 lamps. I'm gonna need you to give me another corruption test, bud.
14?
17.
17, alright. Go. Yeah, okay, gonna spend a point of hope.
All right.
Okay. Alright.
What are you doing, Duvaniel?
Duvaniel is going to struggle to her feet, which is quite difficult.
All right.
And she's going to look at the Morwen and says, "If you'll have me, I'm yours."
Be careful, elf. The power that is in this place brooks no deceit.
Well, I think that
What you say may bind you, even if you do not intend it to do so.
Well, I think that perhaps together we can go into that darkness.
Did not see that coming. Apparently, neither did Richard.
Give me a riddle roll. She is on the other side of the well from you, by the way.
Okay. Well, here we go. What's the TN on this?
This will be an opposed roll.
Okay. Okay, let's see here. Can I leverage my distinctive feature of fair in this to give me a bit of an edge, or
That is not how traits work, unfortunately.
I could sing a song, but I feel that perhaps a song would be a bit
Unless you're Tom
Much-
Bombadil, I'm not sure it's going to help you here.
right. Yes. All right.
Oh, opposed.
Of course.
Yeah.
It would be fun to break you, but as it is,
Yep, couldn't get that.
I have so many plans, and to be quite frank, you're so unimportant. Well, really, if I took the time to break and turn the spirit of every little elf that crossed my path, I'd never get anything done. Basher, let her join her friend. Basher picks you up by your hair,
Let's see here.
carries you over to the well mouth. The drumming intensifies.
Can I try? This is my last point of hope. Can I try the elf lights one more time?
You certainly may.
And can I sing my song?
Which song is that?
I guess the only song she really has is Amras's song.
Is that a party song, or is this you're just singing?
Do we make that a party song? I don't think we made it a party song.
This song is a party song, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the list, I think.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Amras' song? Okay. So what are you trying to do here? You're trying to
Basically,
overpower the magic of the glade?
right? Which I highly doubt it was possible, but we're gonna give it a the old college try.
Give me a song roll.
All right.
Would you like to sing it or recite it?
Certainly. The sea calls out to others, but while the stars look down, tell the shadows, tell my brothers, let the woodland be my crown. The dwarves, they have their mountain, the men their towers bold, but for Amras find a fountain in a forest deep and old, which we might have just found. The hordes of shadow gather when fire and death their cry. Give drink and let us thunder. This day we do not die. The sun will rise tomorrow. The tide will soar. In joy or death or sorrow, in Arda dwell I evermore. And,
That's actually not a company song.
Give me a song roll.
okay. Is it opposed or what are we hitting for here?
We'll say it's a TN17.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, even if I spent my last point of hope, couldn't buy that off.
And you were already spending a point of hope for your elf lights, right?
This is also true.
So that's no hope.
That would get me down to no hope.
Well, according to the rules, when you hit 0 hope, you become unable to function and given completely to despair.
Well, given that I'm about to be tossed into a pit,
That's excellent timing.
it seems like that's the
Basher drops you at the edge of the well, and once again, you hear something wet smacking, feeling, tapping its way up the well shaft. Something black and cold and wet and perfectly smooth wraps around your ankle
Why is that the weirdest detail?
and pulls you into darkness. The Morwen turns to Basher. Well then, have your underlings find the others. I have a kingdom to conquer. Meanwhile, back at Frar's woodland hideout. What are y'all doing in, you would have gotten back right about the probably middle of the day, probably about noon, maybe 1 p.m. What are you guys doing?
I was picturing it. Okay.
Remember, you guys went to the attack in the morning, and it took you about 2 hours to get there, and then there was the fight, and then the 2 hours back. So
Yeah.
we went back to rest, right? Because that was the point.
To rest and hide.
Because the wood is full of trolls, or the troll is full of woods. Can't really tell anymore.
No.
What is it for with?
Frar,
Rar, yeah.
and Frar is absolutely distraught over the treachery of his brother Floor.
So, just to be clear, it's broad daylight and the woods are full of trolls, and yet there is not even the slightest amount of sunlight to turn them into stone.
Have you read The Hobbit?
But, like, it's trees. There's got to be, like, a hole somewhere they'd be scared, like, afraid to.
Have you read The Hobbit?
Okay, fine. Yes.
Mirkwood is dark even in the daytime, and it is beyond dark at night. So much so that creatures, such as stone trolls, that have the denizen of the dark trait, get the bonus from the trait while under the eaves of Mirkwood as though it were complete night. Same thing with an Nazgul, which is why he was much tougher for you guys than he would have been if you'd faced him somewhere else.
I see.
I thought he was less tough. And that's why.
Oh, he could have been tougher, but one of the reasons he was tough was because it was in Mirkwood. So what are you guys doing?
Are we already in the hideout? Or are we standing in the middle of the road talking?
Y'all had headed back to the hideout, so we can probably assume, since y'all made your athletics rolls to get away from the trolls, that you have made it for the time being.
Frar, can the trolls track us in here? Do they have any way to, by scent? And she glances at Sigaroon. And then
I do not think so, but if Floor betrayed us,
Oh,
may-
yes.
he may have told them where we are.
And he knows where any of your other hideouts are as well.
Aye, none of them will be safe now.
We need to move quickly.
I'm not sure there's a point anymore. My own kin turned against me. And for what? A kingdom we do not have? If he had wanted to be king, I'd have given it to him. Before all this. You're right, of course. We've got to move.
Do you know a place we can go? Maybe a place that your brother doesn't know about.
I mean, he and I always traveled together. We had hideouts mostly along the elf path. I have a home, but it's up north of the forest. It'd be miles and miles.
Where are we on the map?
You're kind of right here. Kind of right a few miles from the forest gate.
We need to get out of Mirkwood. We need to be someplace. They can't follow us in the daylight.
Aye, that's true enough. Once through the forest gate, we could, I suppose go to the land of the Beornings, or seek out some of my kin north of the forest. What do you suggest?
That is where Rainy's from. And she glances over at Rainy.
Are we looking for shelter or are we looking for help?
Shelter first, then help.
We can go to my people. They will give us shelter.
I don't expect the trolls will follow us across open country anyway. If this basher has wolves at his disposal, that's another matter. But perhaps that's best dealt with when it comes to it. All right, we'll make a break for the forest gate. Do you think we should go now, or after dark's not an option, but we could wait till the morning?
There aren't any safe places if we've been betrayed. There-
Including this place right now.
right.
And your friends?
We cannot go against seven trolls.
It doesn't matter whether we can go against them. We can't find them.
We could track Basher through the forest.
I am sure he leaves big enough footprints.
Tracking him, I don't think would be a problem. It's fighting him once we do find him.
Rainy steps forward and says, I can see if I can speak to the birds of the forest. If I can successfully communicate with one of them, I can at least see if they can tell us what has happened to our friends. And then once we've reached safety, we can proceed with more information.
Are there birds in Mirkwood that could communicate? I mean,
There are
isn't it
definitely
devoid of
birds.
wildlife?
It's not devoid of wildlife. The wildlife that is in Mirkwood is almost invariably black of hue or fur or feather. But there are definitely birds in Mirkwood. They've been affected by the evil of the wood as much as any creature has. But here in northern Mirkwood, where the elves still have some influence, they're not quite as bad.
I could also ask if the wolves are gathering or if there are any trolls near.
We should know what's happening around us, where the trolls are and wolves. Yes,
If you can do that, let's do that now.
yes.
I can try.
So you're gonna step outside and just kind of Snow White it.
Riddler song.
I actually don't have great riddle or song, so this is sort of far-fetched.
Well, you could certainly try to ask a bird something. You could also maybe just sort of listen to the bird song in the trees, or listen to the calls of birds, and see if you can divine anything from it. I would say that would be riddle or song. Yeah.
Okay, alright. Yeah, I will do that. I will step out a little ways away from any noise that might be happening so I can concentrate. Just sort of tilt my head towards the birds. I suppose. What is the TN?
We'll say it's 14.
Yes!
Hey,
Just got it. So Randy, you kind of step out of the hidden. You step out of the underground hideout and listen beneath the trees. And at first, the forest is quiet. Even for Mirkwood, which is usually typically pretty quiet, it's quiet. Almost too quiet. And then now and then you hear a kind of a haunting call on the wind of some bird croaking in the darkness. And while birds don't have a fully distinct like syntax and grammar as a rule, in the way that the speech of men does, you can hear certain ideas and certain concepts, certain thoughts and feelings. Normally it would be things like food, water, prey, hunter, just sort of things that the birds might, or, territorial disputes, mine. But you hear darkness. The bats. The bats are coming. Darkness on the wind. There's something here. Crashers, breakers, hunters. Beware.
Okay, so Rainy starts like he's suddenly very nervous and comes back inside quickly and says, I think we need to leave.
What
The
did
birds
you...
are they're almost silent, but what little I have heard is that something is coming. They speak of darkness and bats and crashers and hunters.
Then let's go. The
Let's
forest,
head for the Bjornings.
We need to go quickly.
the forest gate. They'll probably be waiting for us. They know that's where we'll go. But it is the closest.
We don't have another choice.
From the
Let's go.
sound of it, it's either here or there, so
Then let's go.
All right. Are you guys going to be prioritizing speed or stealth?
Okay, you guys. Can you be stealthy?
I cannot.
Um,
I think we're going to prioritize speed.
I can do stealth, but what speed is athletics?
Speed is athletics.
For hunting, right?
Hunting or stealth for stealth.
Oh, I have a 3 in hunting, a 0 in stealth, and a 2 in athletics.
Hunting, I can re-roll my success die.
Hunting for stealth? Is that what you said it was?
In the woods.
Okay.
How are you on that?
Me? I'm pretty good at stealth.
Okay.
I remember correctly.
How are we as far as regaining, like, have we rested at all?
Yeah. Richard.
You haven't rested yet.
So what are you guys at far as
Immediately after the fight, you would have regained your basic heart for
Right.
catching your breath. And I don't remember if you've already done that or not, but
we have?
yeah, so you haven't rested yet. You basically just got back to the hideout.
What are y'all at endurance wise?
My endurance is 11. My fatigue is 14, so I'm weary.
The twice baked honey cakes don't work now, is that correct?
They do work now.
That lowers the TN of travel.
But it also doesn't it do something else too? Don't you raise your endurance by the heart again?
You and your fellow travelers reduce the difficulty of all your fatigue tests by a value equal to your wisdom rating.
But also, it's not all it does, right?
Raise your
It also raises your fellowship rating.
Oh.
Okay. Well, am I the only one who's weary?
No, I'm also weary.
How close are you to being not weary?
3. I'm at 12 and my fatigue's at 15.
You could drop armor.
Okay.
We could replenish at the earnings, right?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. For speed,
Okay.
we'll drop our armor.
Well, for stealth.
Oh, yeah. Either way. Okay. I'm not weary anymore.
All right, so you are removing your armor, Illyri?
I guess so.
Dagger has an encumbrance of 1, right?
Nope, 0.
Is it 0?
Uh-huh.
I had it wrong on my other sheet. Humbug.
You still weary? You don't have armor?
No, my leather cap is 2 encumbrance. I'd rather drop that and something else than my leather corselet, but alright. I've taken off the corselet, kept the cap.
Just dropping undies along the path.
It's called an arming shirt. All right.
I feel free.
Freedom!
Pretty sure you have to burn it first.
Every day.
Jonathan. All right. Well, if you guys are making a run for it, I need athletics rolls. If you're trying to sneak your way out, go ahead and give me the applicable roll.
Okay.
I think we're sneaking, yes?
Mm-hmm.
That might be better since it seemed like there were things close by.
TN
Yeah.
14, right?
As far as
Yep.
you know.
And I can take one of you with me now if you fail.
Okay.
I think that was Duvaniel's plan. She was going to take somebody with her, but speaking of
I
failures.
get to re-roll that though.
Oh, you do.
Alright, I'll take the 4.
Yep. All right.
Tarun.
You all begin making your way out of the you make your way out of Farar's hideout and keeping off the elf path for a change. You kind of weaving back and forth through the trees, following old animal trails, and runs, and really anything else you can find. You begin making your way westward through the trees. So far, you seem to have evaded pursuit, at least as far as you can tell. The journey to the edge, to the forest gate, is going to be, it's 40 miles. You guys are traveling over severe terrain, on foot, through wildlands. All right. Moving carefully. It will take you 3 days to reach the forest gate. I'm going to go ahead and need everyone to go ahead and give me a fatigue test at TN 16. Reduced by
Less?
what's your wisdom, Randy?
2.
All right, so TN 14.
Nice. Of travel. Woohoo! Our song can travel.
Oh.
Oh.
Spend a point of hope with it? No?
You're not gonna get weary.
Okay.
How much fatigue was that?
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Bold applies, does it? For
What's that?
Does bold apply to checking it off? Traveling through Mirkwood?
Not in this case. I don't think it's quite specific enough.
Okay.
But you do make pretty good progress, passing along kind of parallel to the elf path. This is a journey which, perhaps sadly, is not necessarily unfamiliar for you. In fact, if anything, this is one of the nicest parts of Mirkwood that any of you have ever been in. It's much nicer than where you guys usually go. But it is still Mirkwood, and the trees above make a thick canopy that threatens to block out almost choke out the rays of the sun. As the second day of your journey begins, I'm going to need another hunting or stealth test.
But we get another recovery, right?
Yes, your basic heart +2.
Okay.
Where'd you go?
And then another hunting test.
Yes, hunting or stealth. All right.
Oh, I'm not weary.
But also you got
Ooh.
a Gandalf, so
Yeah.
And I got a great success, so I can take her with me.
What is going on with Rennie here?
No,
No,
that was
war song last time. Okay, we're just spreading it out between everybody. You're next.
Songs didn't count.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
the hunt is now, not counting war songs that didn't happen apparently, at 13
Ah,
14.
out of 16 for where you're at.
Last night it was 14, and by the time we triggered the hunt, we're already halfway there again.
yep.
Yes, they rolled so many Eyes of Sauron's in a single series of checks that they not only triggered one hunt, they
But
got the next one to 8 or 9.
By the time it actually started, like,
That's so crazy.
it was insane.
Seems incredibly unlikely.
PGA rolled like 6 in a row.
It was unbelievable.
All right. All right. So you continue your journey through, and at this time, well, I guess Illyria got a great success, so that will fortunately cover for your failure. Randy, you start to lag behind just a little bit, but Randy kind of pulls you along, and you keep on going. Once again, now and then, it almost sounds like your pursuers have come near. You hear crashing through the underbrush. And you lie and you wait in a hollow or underneath the roots of a great tree, and it passes by, and you continue again. You haven't come into contact with them. You haven't actually seen them, but they've come close enough times, or at least something has come close enough times that you know that the hunt is still on. I'm going to go ahead and need one more fatigue test at TN 16, modified to 14.
Ooh! Again, isn't it travel? Or
But I could roll hunting for it. Wait, no, you're
Well,
right.
no, fatigue is travel.
yeah.
Can you,
Huh?
can you spin?
Well, she also had a great success, right? So she could help her out.
Not on travel.
Not on travel.
Well,
It's just for stealth rolls.
Oh, but fatigue would just add to your,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
All right,
I'm
you huff, puff. Basically, at this point, nothing but the sheer force of will impelling you forward as you near the forest gate. And that brings you to the third day of your journey. As you've traveled, Frar has become increasingly taciturn, saying very little at all, but a curious light seems to gleam in his eye now. Go ahead and give me one more stealth or hunting roll.
Can I do
Can-
insight?
Yeah.
I was gonna.
Sure.
Wow. Okay, insight I'm terrible at. Is anybody decent at it?
I have a 2.
That's better than me.
I'm okay.
She has 3.
You do that. Ranny, you do it.
Yeah, especially since if you roll an eye, you don't trigger a.
Concerned about O'Leary going mad on us right now.
Okay. What is the TN for that?
14.
All right. Randy has been noticing the gleam in his eye and has taken to watching him extra.
I mean,
Not an
maybe
eye.
maybe he's thinking of home. Maybe he's thinking of his brother, and he's plotting vengeance. But it's hard to be sure.
Do you have courage?
She hasn't spent any courage yet, so she has 2 courage. She's so bad.
It seems like that would be a good thing to do now. So
Or we could ask him.
Shut up!
I'm down to a roll.
Huh?
Down to a roll. Which doesn't mean you can't ask him as part
You
of
can ask him and then spend courage later if you need to.
Well, I don't think she can roll again. This is her roll, right?
You can certainly ask if you would like. You might roll to see if you think that he's telling you the truth, but you don't have to roll dice to ask somebody a question. This isn't that one game.
Okay. Well, I have 2 left, and I'm getting close to home, and I'm bringing this person into my village. So it's pretty important to me that I know what's going on if he's dangerous or something like that. So I think I will spend a point of courage to
Okay.
make that roll.
All right. What do you want to ask him? Or are you asking him? Are you just trying to observe him? Because that will affect the answer you get. Okay.
I'll do.
So-
I've been observing him to see what I could glean off of my own insight, and I'll also ask Frar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to come up to him casually as we're getting ready to go again and very quietly whisper, "So, there has to be a lot going through your mind."
There's only one thing going through my mind. Vengeance.
Is that so?
Flor was a little greedy, perhaps, but he would never have betrayed his own kin. Something has bewitched his mind. I mean to find out what.
And how are you planning to do that?
I do not yet know. Perhaps if I spoke with one of the wizards. You reading him, Branny, you hear a sense of doubt in his voice that kind of like almost like a tremble that belies the kind of the very vengeful attitude that he's presenting to you. You think it might be fear that his brother's not enchanted, fear that maybe the long years of being dispossessed and wandering has turned his people into something that he doesn't recognize anymore, perhaps even himself into something he doesn't recognize anymore. And he whereas before he might have thought that he knew his place in the world and that he'd been dispossessed from his place, he's now beginning to doubt even that.
Rainy will lay a quick hand on his shoulder and
He kind of looks at you suspiciously and kind of pulls his shoulder away. I'm not her dog. I don't need to be petted.
and she'll say, "We'll all feel better and know better what to do after we've rested." I have no doubt that Baron will help us as he can.
Aye, well, he's not known for being any friend of the dwarves now, is he? There is no rest for any dwarf of the Grey Delve until whatever witch or wizard or sorcery that has enchanted my brother has been destroyed and our home reclaimed.
Rainy will nod and continue on.
All right. After 3 days of frantic traveling, of hiding in holes, of living under roots, of eating what little, basically, provisions you were able to quickly bring from the cave, most of which is prunes. And so you've spent a lot of time in the woods. You make it to the forest gate. The forest gate is kind of an opening where the trees begin to thin out, and it's not like a complete like a wall, and then there are no trees at all. But the trees have thinned out and opened, and there's the place where the elf path begins, with the markings of the elves, identifying it as such, and they're standing just beneath the shadow of the trees. You see 2 enormous trolls.
Wait, did we walked out and we saw them?
Well, I didn't say you walked out unless you want to.
No, not really. So wait, these are trolls standing there, definitely not stone trolls.
They're standing within the shadow of the trees.
Yes.
They're stone trolls, but they're not stone trolls.
So, did you say there's a clearing of light in front of them and in front of us?
On the other side of the forest gate, the trees thin out into a thin wood that would be known to as the serpent wood, or sometimes the wormwood. And it is they're like it's a more like a forest that you might encounter like at a park down the road, as opposed to Mirkwood. Like the trees are significantly thinner.
So we aren't actually on the elf path. We've been staying to the edges. Can we just not go out where the trolls are standing, like skirt our way around them out of sight into the dappled sunlight trees?
Can you?
Well,
What's the
you said it
mechanic
wasn't an
for
actual
that?
wall. Is there a mechanic, like,
If you are trying to sneak around some trolls at this point, it's going to be stealth.
okay.
Not hunting, because this is not finding paths through the woods. This is simply
What's the how close are the trolls to us?
probably 30, 40 yards.
Okay.
Can we make our way down the edge of the forest along the paths?
Sure.
What are you asking, Sophie?
Which would be hunting.
I mean, at this point, you are in close proximity to the trolls. So this is not, we're not in like chase mode. This is, there's some bad guys over there. How would you like to proceed?
And we're sure they are stone trolls and not just like hill trolls that can. Do all trolls turn to stone in the sunlight?
Do you have troll lore or shadow lore?
I think I have shadow lore. Let me check. I
I-
have shadow lore. I
Uh,
have Mirkwood lore.
Warsong, you know that not all trolls turn to stone in the sunlight, is specifically stone trolls which do so, hence the name.
Can I
And-
tell that these are stone trolls?
Give me a lore roll.
Okay.
You should have brought your Audubon and scared the trolls.
14.
Yep.
I will spend a point of hope to make that a success.
Okay. They're definitely stone trolls.
Or a point of courage, I mean.
Are
Because
they greater northern tufted stone trolls, though?
No horns.
All right, let's stealth it. Right, we're stealthing around them. That's what we're doing, right?
not stealthing, we are sneaking.
We are sneaking around them.
If you say the word stealthing, you automatically fail and you die.
Ray, did you say that you could not sneak?
I cannot do straight stealth.
She's like 6.5 feet tall with a giant great spear.
And super blonde.
Yeah.
I did not roll a great success.
Illyri's the opposite of Rand.
That's probably true in many ways.
So what am I doing?
Just a sec.
Hold on.
Look at how you diverse group of strangers have all come together to die horribly in Mirkwood.
So I have to go straight. No? Right?
If you're gonna sneak, yeah.
Well,
But-
we're sneaking. We're not. We're
But-
going around. Is that what?
That's
decided?
sneaking. Yeah, you have confront or sneak at this point. Those are your two options. Oh snap!
Oh.
What does it take to make that a success?
Um,
Oh, it's 14, right?
it's not 14, it's 16, I think.
16.
Let's see. They are extremely alert. So 18,
Yeah.
because they're looking for you.
Before I follow, could I potentially try? At this point, we're failing it, right?
We're very failed.
Looks pretty fail.
Could I sort of see if I could cause a kind of distraction in an opposite direction of us with my bird speak?
Give me a riddle roll.
What is the TN?
This will be opposed by the troll's great cunning.
So just for like that.
Hey, birds, they're covered in suet.
Oh yeah? Well.
Like, no, they're not. They're trolls.
You start whistling.
Hope?
Could I do that?
Sure.
Then your courage is it.
I will spend a point of courage to direct the birds better.
Okay, you kind of whistle at some of the birds, and there are a few more wholesome birds out here on the edge of the forest, and they begin kind of chirping erratically off, and a couple of them sort of flying at the trolls' faces, and the trolls just kind of
And I still haven't snuck out yet, so
Yes. So I will count that as your success in this case for
His power.
the sneakings. Um,
Can I? No, I don't think I can do that.
Are
I
you
was
s-
gonna say, can
do you want to spend a
Make sure-
point of hope to raise your stealth roll, Amanda?
Make it?
I made it.
You need an 18
Oh.
because they have set watches. They are looking for you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'll use a point of courage. I think I have one left. Let me check. Yeah, I have one left. Somehow I put 10 courage on there, but I'm pretty sure that's just a 1.
I am courageous.
I have 10 courage!
You spend the last courage point in memory of Narvi,
Yeah. Dang.
who you didn't even try to save.
Haven't yet tried to save.
All right. Warsong, you still got that eye.
Yep.
So as the three of you start moving, they're quite distracted by the birds, and everything seems to be going swimmingly. Warsong, there's a resounding crack beneath your feet, and both of the trolls turn and look directly at the three of you.
All three?
Yep, group stealth is group stealth.
Wait. Oh no, she can do that.
You move at the loudness of your loudest member. So,
I would say running would be good now.
Athletics?
Oh,
the trolls begin barreling towards the three of you.
Vanya's not on there no more. Or was that the ghost of Duvaniel that is...
That's the ghost of Duvaniel, but she's gone now.
I would like to roll battle.
Okay. There's only 2 trolls. You guys probably take them.
We or can we all be in the Whoa.
it's
That is 15 of 16.
What?
What?
The hunt is 1 eye away
Yeah,
from
why
being...
is the hunt
Oh,
Sorry? I was scrolled up and on Warsong's last eye somehow, and I was like, dang! Okay, sorry. Well then.
that's a really awesome battle roll.
So you get 2 bonus die to spend in the battle. So basically what you notice...
It's a great success.
What's that?
I think it's more than 2 because it's a great success.
You get 1 for an ordinary success, 2 for a great, and 3 for an extraordinary.
Are you sure it's not 2, 3, and 4?
Yep.
Okay.
You can look it up, but I'm 100% positive. So you kind of look around and you see the 2 trolls just running, mowing down small trees, and they're making no, and you hear one of them yell, I found them over here.
How do they compare in size to the one that, like, is this one of the 7?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's not Basher.
It's not, neither of these are Basher. They're both stone trolls.
We need to run for the
They're
light.
charging for you, and you do notice kind of like a thick stand of trees that you could probably move around to maybe try to keep them from surrounding you, or put it between you and them. And also, of course, you see the sunlight at the end of the path.
I don't have my book.
Illyri is going to yell, "Run for the light!"
All right,
Take off,
Illyri, give me an athletics roll.
guys.
I'll be
Don't
just
stay behind.
I stole Sophie's book earlier. I mean, technically it's my book, and I just stole it back.
I'm using a point of hope to make that a success.
All right. It's a TN 16, so does a T point of hope get you to 16? All right, Illyri, when it
You're
comes to
running out.
trolls, you're good at running away from trolls.
I
Running away
apparently
from
am.
trolls is apparently Illyri's style.
Just to clarify, Illyri is running towards the sunlight, right? Not
Yes.
into the woods.
No,
Yes.
back into Mirkwood. She already said.
No, I did not
No
say
takebacks.
that. I yelled, "Run for the light!"
Oh, I thought you said run for the white.
Also, down to 1 hope.
Sweet.
Like a lot of new characters again. They'll be like that.
Amazingly, have you not rolled an eye tonight, Amanda?
Nope.
Wow. I guess Illyri's luck has finally come in. Now that I've said that.
I know.
Wahaha. All right.
Most of that's
Illyri, you run from the trolls, as you have in your previous encounters with the trolls. And you kind of duck between the two of them as they both grab at you and bolt away towards the light. You have broken away from combat.
Come on, girls.
Warsong and Ranny, what are you guys doing? Are you taking an opening volley or are you trying to break away?
I'm either trying to run away.
Farrar at this point is also bolting for the sunlight.
Okay. I was only just wondering if I could attempt to roll off, if that was an option at this point.
You can do the intimidate foe action if you would like to rob them of some of their hate.
Okay. I think Rainy is going to follow Illyri.
Okay. Give me an athletics roll. TN 16. TPK. Ah, dang
There we
it.
go.
All right. All right, Ranny, you duck out between the arms of the two trolls, unfortunately leaving Warsong to face them alone. Because I believe that you cannot break away from combat if you are outnumbered 2-1.
Oh,
What? No, that's what?
Let me check the rules. But
Can't we run away and they can chase us?
Yeah.
well, yes, but there are special breakaway rules. And
Guess this is what happens when you get noticed first.
When you what?
When you get noticed first.
let's see
So the fight
here.
actually did start, and then you broke away.
Right. So this is not just like a pursuit. This is you are in combat. They were attacking, which meant you guys got to go first. And now they're and you're taking as your combat action, you're breaking away. Combat 166. Let's just check this. If you get a great success, you can pull somebody else away with you.
Yes.
See, there's the rules for ambushing. I think we're past those. Ranged attacks, endurance loss, piercing blows, called shots, tasks, and combat. Here we go. Escape combat. Okay. You can do it, but you have to get a great or extraordinary success since you are engaged by multiple opponents because there are two of them and one of you.
Is there any option for inspiring or helping here? Something like that?
Is she your fellowship focus?
I don't currently
Pretty
have a
sure
fellowship
it
focus.
would be.
Or
Well, in the future, if you set a fellowship focus, you can spend a point of hope to. I guess you can actually do it anyway.
War songs.
I think it was always going to be that Warsong was Rainey's fellowship focus.
She's my fellowship focus. Not that I can do anything.
Let's see here. Let's just check the assisting rules. I always forget the rules for aiding. Okay, sorry guys. Wouldn't be an RPG if we didn't have to spend some time looking up rules.
It is just fine.
And somebody has my book, so I'm having to use the PDF, which is a little ungainly. All right. I bet that's under advanced action resolution, is what I bet that is. Opposed actions, repeating an action, prolonged actions. Well, that was not as helpful as I sort of expected it to be. Orientation, protection, perception. Okay, here we go. Okay. I just want to make sure we get this right. Where's my... here we go. Okay. What I will say is, if you want to spend a point of hope, I will. We will say she is your fellowship focus because that does make sense, and in the future, it's something that you want to define because it affects how much hope you get back or and whatnot at the end of the session. So you can go ahead and spend a point of hope to. We'll say cheer her on. Give me a roll of inspire. To be TN14, and if you succeed, you will give her a bonus die.
She does have 2 bonus die. Wait, yeah.
She does have 2 bonus die from her battle roll.
But the question is not about bonus die, it's about whether I'm...
Oh, there's no question that you can escape, but you have to get a great or extraordinary success to do so because it's 2 on 1 now. I was just trying to remember the rules for helping somebody out with a task. Because she is your fellowship focus, you can add an attribute bonus without having to spend a point of hope. So if somebody's your fellowship focus and you're doing something to protect or aid them, you can add an attribute bonus to the roll without spending a point of hope.
She makes that.
Okay.
So which attribute?
That would be for heart.
Heart?
Yep.
Okay, so that would be 4.
Okay. I will say that because you got 2 levels of success, I will instead of giving bonus die, we will say that lowers the difficulty of the breakaway by 2 levels, so it becomes a TN12. But you will still need a great or extraordinary success, Warsong.
And the roll is what am I rolling?
Athletics.
Athletics. Okay. So I get 2 success die.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just gonna check off 2 boxes and then take it off so I can roll it all at once.
Okay. The trolls.
Also, my fellowship book. No, I can't do anything, right?
If you'd like to spend a point of hope to do so, but then you will be
Can't.
immobilized. All right. As Frar, Illyri, and Rani all make a break for freedom. Once again, Warsong, you find that you have been abandoned, and there are trolls surrounding you, and they are both going to make attacks with their stone clubs, and you're the only one here.
They're weary.
They're weary. Okay, well, in that case, he only gets a 13, which still hits because your TN's 12. So that is 12 points of damage as the first stone club slams into you. The second one is also going to make his attack.
We had one more day that we regained heart, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's another hit for 12 damage, so 24 total for the round.
No, that's not another hit, is it?
No.
Weary?
got
Oh,
12.
because he's weary. Let me just mark that these guys are weary, so I won't run into that again. Stupid dog.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that one just barely misses you as Sigarun leaps and grabs the troll's wrist and actually pulls it aside with the weight of his great leap as it just barely misses you. It is your turn. You gonna try to break away again, Warsong? Are you other guys? Are the rest of you still running?
What?
I think we're standing in the light. I am. I'm standing in the light.
Okay, you are standing in the light,
Yep.
What are they
watching Warsong fight the trolls herself.
Yelling at her. Come on!
What's their highest attribute bonus?
I believe it is 6 because they are stone trolls.
What are the rules for re-entering a fight? Jess is wondering.
It is it's a turn to do so. So that'll be your whole action this round.
And then I would have to break away again or something.
Right. All right. So Rani, are you doing anything?
I will.
Warsong and Rani, what are y'all doing?
I guess I will try to break away again.
All right. Give me an athletics roll.
Come on. No.
Rainey's gonna take a turn and re-enter.
All right, Rani, looking back over your shoulder and seeing your friend being now between these two huge trolls, you brandish your spear and charge back into the fray.
Illyri's right behind her.
You already took your turn standing in the light.
What?
You're standing in the
That
light.
is-
I asked you what you were doing, and you said you were
asked us
standing
if
in
we
the
were-
light.
If we were still running. Okay, fine.
I will allow you to run back this
I'm
round.
running back.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, Illyri, here's looking at you. Dang it. Oh, wait, is he weary because he's not fighting you, Warsong? Is it just fighting you?
It might just be fighting me. I will read it to you because I have it on my
It
sheet.
wouldn't make it though.
Yeah, it would miss it anyway, but that is important to know.
Tearing jaws. sorry.
You're fine.
You may spend a fellowship to teach your companion to harass your opponent when fighting at close quarters. If you are fighting alongside your animal companion, your immediate adversary in close combat is
Okay.
always considered to be weary.
So that's just the troll that's now fighting you,
Yeah,
which is this guy on the right, and he's gonna attack you with his club.
but he's always considered to be weary to fight other people as well.
On right, gotcha. Why is he not weary? Dang it. Did I just I got them switched. Alright, so that one wouldn't be there, but I think that's 11, 15 would still hit. For 6 damage. Again, the stone club comes crashing down on you as Illyri and Ranni run back to your aid. It is now the top of the round. So you're all up.
So that's 6 damage.
Yep.
And is my Mirkwood thing?
That definitely is applying here. How much does that add? Because I'd forgotten about that. How much does that add?
Favored wits as basic parry, and her favored wits is
How much more is that than your normal wits?
just 1 more.
Okay. So the difficulty to hit you is increased by 1, so it would have been a 13. So that would have still hit in this case, but that is good to know. Oh no, I lost Sophie. Did you guys lose Sophie? All right, maybe she'll reconnect. All right. In the meantime, Illyri and Ranni, what are you doing?
Going to. Why is this taking her away? Okay, well, I don't know why it's doing that, but I'm
Doing
going
what?
to attack one of the trolls. When I click on my icon to pull up the weapons, it's like actually moving her, and like I don't know.
Try it now.
I mean, she's stuck to my. Okay, stay.
Weird. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm just gonna try to do this. So, it's not letting me. It won't let me do it.
Do you want me to click it for you?
Yeah.
Are you using your spear?
Yeah.
Which one are you attacking?
The one attacking
You?
me? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. That'll be this one on the left here. So you hit for 5 points of damage.
Okay.
All right. You lunge forward, and with a fearsome war cry, you plunge your spear about maybe 2.5 inches into the troll's hide. Warsong and Ranni, you're up.
What happened?
I hit for 5 damage.
That was the whole thing.
Okay. So what was the thing on the parry?
Your parry's increased by 1, so I don't think that would have affected any of the rolls that already hit, but I will try to keep that in mind.
Okay.
You're up, Warsong and Ranni.
I'm going to attempt to intimidate them. I'm going to brandish my spear and right when I run up to the fight, roar at them as loudly as I can.
All right. Roll a roll of awe.
What is it again?
It is 10 plus the highest attribute level of the enemy, so 16.
Oh.
All right. The trolls, you run up and just scream as loud as you possibly can at these trolls. They are completely unimpressed. Warsong, what are you doing?
Okay, sorry. I don't have the sheet pulled up now, don't.
Break away.
I don't think I can break away. This came up before. Warsong is not able to break away from fights, really.
Even as the first person to try and break away? As opposed to the last person to try and break away?
We will all die here.
But Warsong will die slower if we're standing.
Oh yeah. But we will all die here unless we get out of this. And the light is right there.
Okay, I will. I mean, yeah.
I mean, do you
What
want
are our
to?
other options?
What are your other options? You guys have been playing this game for 3 years.
How close to Beorn are we?
You're several miles north of Beorn, probably, I don't know, 70, 80, something like that. The country of the Beornings is probably a day's march southward.
What if? Okay, then the likelihood of me sending her backup or help is probably not very.
Yeah,
Take them a day and a half to see the beach.
yeah. The distance is a real killer when you're talking about Mirkwood.
And it's not like first neighbors.
You've got combat options, but you guys, I'm also open to thinking outside the box.
Um,
Okay.
how's y'all's riddle?
My awe is better.
What's your off?
My awe is 2.
Mine is 2.
If I give a really good, scary speech, can you up it like a song?
To intimidate the trolls?
Yeah.
Well, there's mechanics for intimidating the trolls. You scare them. You do what Randy just did.
No, I know. But I mean, like with a song, if you write a song, you get an extra dice. If you say something really scary, you get an extra.
I will just say, remember, the main thing that Intimidate Foe does is make them
Yeah.
lose hate.
Yeah,
That
it's not gonna help that much.
may not
If we
help
have, like,
as
8.
much here.
They're not very smart. We have an advantage there, which is why you were asking about riddle, right?
That's why.
My riddle is 2.
I think we should give that a shot.
Okay. Is it our turn?
Yeah.
It is
just
Warsong's turn.
Warsong. Y'all have gone.
Yes.
Um.
Dang it! We don't have any dwarves or elves in our party. Technically, no, they were looking for us.
Yeah,
Never mind.
your cover is totally blown here.
um I'm not good at riddle. Like, I am not good at riddle.
You can always try and run away. I mean,
Riddle them. Do what?
still try and run away.
You can run away and we can riddle.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
well, but getting away, I have to roll a 14.
16.
I am still able to help you out with that.
Do what?
I think I am still able to help you out with that.
The only problem here is you've already used your turn for the round, Jess.
Yeah.
You could do that next round, but you don't have a turn this round
Okay.
because you've already taken it. What you doing, Warsong? Troll's coming at you, raising his club to strike again.
Warsong is going to
Gonna try to what?
break away.
All right, give me an athletics roll. Unless you are doing that in some way that might convince me to let you use some other skill than athletics. Do you have a trait you'd like to invoke here?
Well, I have Mirkwood War.
Right, I meant...
Like, bold? I have bold.
Yeah, bold is not the trait to invoke for all creative ways of running away.
What does, like, how, when you ask if I have something I want to invoke, like what kind of a bonus would that give? I thought that couldn't give bonuses for rolls. It just allows you to make a roll.
Right, that's correct. But so, for instance, breakaway is usually in athletics. But if you had a trait like clever, and you were like, "Hey, look at that phone book over there," and they were like, "What phone book?" I might be like, "Yeah, since you've got the clever trait, I'll let you use riddle to try to break away instead," something like that. So,
Oh, I see.
all right, well, give me an athletics roll.
Right. There we go.
All that painful sitting and waiting. All right, Warsong, you're able to duck under the swing of the troll, and you and Sigarun begin to hoof it for the sunlight. It is now the troll's turn.
Can I
And
well, okay, I can't yet, can I?
yep, not yet, not your turn. It is in fact the troll's turn, and the first one is gonna take a swing at Illyri. Illyri, how would you like 12 points of damage?
Okay.
All right, and then
Actually, I'm not gonna take 12 points of damage. I'm just gonna take a point of shadow.
that's only if it would knock you unconscious, or right?
Or if it would make me weary.
Oh, okay. Would that make you weary?
It would.
All right, you can add on the shadow. Um.
Rage it up.
All right, and then this one is coming for Ranny. Also hits. So Ranny, you take 6 points of damage.
First damage he's taken all day though.
So as Warsong begins to run for the sunlight, the trolls swing at you, and you both attempt to parry the blows with your spears, but the force of the stone clubs is just too great, and it knocks you back. Illyri, you are up.
Okay. We're both up, right? We're both at
Yes,
this
you're
point.
both up.
Call to
What
them to get them to follow me using riddle.
You can try. I'm going to say it's going to be more difficult right now because they're actually engaged in combat with someone else. So it would be quite a bit of like it would take quite a bit to get them to focus on you instead of the humans, the dirty, filthy, stinking humans they're already pounding into jelly.
Just like shaking my axe and saying, "Come after me."
Give me a riddle roll because you're trying to trick them.
Do I want to tell them to come after me, or hey, look, there's an idol?
All right.
Okay, what's the TN?
I'm gonna say it's 16.
Okay. He is going to tell them that there are
Princess Flowers. Bye.
men on the way, that they've called them magic from the Beornings on the wings of birds. Or like that.
That's a very complex sentence to
shorter
yell
than that.
out at trolls, but go ahead. Give me a riddle roll.
Shorter than that.
Give me a riddle roll.
Okay.
It's beyond.
That's right. Bjorn is coming.
The trolls do not seem to take any notice. All right, so Illyri and Randy, what you doing?
What is your athletics? 2. Okay. Go ahead and go. Can I use elusive as the last one as my to make it? I want to be the last one.
That you can be the last one, but you're gonna have to roll for that. Like elusive.
I'm actually pretty healthy. Like, I can.
Yeah, but I can take a lot of damage. So just you go.
All right. Well, as Illyri yells for Rainy to go. They'll hesitate for a moment and then take off towards the light. Athletics.
10, 16, right?
Yes.
Second time, running away from that.
As you try to duck away from the
I can help
troll, he
because-
steps in front of you.
Fellowship focus.
Not after the roll's already been done.
Ah,
All right. Illyri, what are you doing?
I am. If I break away and get a great success, I can take her with me.
one.
Well, she hasn't broken away. Let's see. Hold on. Let me check.
Do we have any hope in the fellowship focus and the fellowship pool?
You guys have burned through all that.
Yeah.
It's been a rough phase.
I mean, some would say it was rough.
I mean, the trolls so far, I thought it was pretty okay.
Yeah, it's been all right. No.
No.
Not that I can tell. Let's see
It's the
here.
way we've done it before.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let's see here. A great or extraordinary success. Nope.
What does it do?
Well, it's needed to escape if you're engaged by multiple opponents, but it doesn't allow you to pull somebody else away.
Have I already
Right.
gone this round?
You have gone this round. You did the riddle roll that did not work.
Yep.
All right, Illyri, what are you doing?
Breaking away, I guess, right? Is that the right move? Okay.
Give me an athletics roll.
What's our target?
Your target is TN16. All right. You
Nice.
bolt for the woods. And that leaves Ranny to take 2 attacks from these trolls. One of them swings his club at you.
Couldn't she be in defensive stance? I mean, would there be a reason why she has to be forward?
She can absolutely change stances at the start of her turn. All right, so you take 12 points of damage from that troll, as the other troll basically raises his club to strike, and at the last moment turns and elbow drops you. For another 13 points of damage.
You're down. Down.
And you are unconscious.
Dang it!
What kind of role is using my mirror on them?
Your mirror?
Yeah, her sunlight mirror.
Let's see. What kind of a role would using a mirror be?
I have Mirkwood lore, if that helps. I mean, like the whole woodcrafty woodman, like knowing where the light is. I'm standing in the light. I've got the mirror. Would hunting, as far as awareness goes, of being able to aim it and being in the woods, and you know, I'm used to all the things around me.
Can you just do it and not roll? See what happens?
I'm gonna say this is a
Battle?
riddle roll.
I mean, is that riddle? Okay.
Yeah, I think riddle.
Awareness.
What's that?
What about awareness?
Because she's using the light in her eyes and like actually lining it up.
Right.
I think this is going to be riddle because this is a because basically you're trying to do a trick, right? It's something that's kind of sneaky and underhanded that they're not expecting. And riddle covers like kind of clever uses.
Okay, TN.
14.
Can I help her?
Nice. All right.
Oh.
You okay? You kind of taking the mirror and focusing it. You see a patch of the skin across the chest of one of the stone trolls begins to ossify, and as it does, you kind of bend, tilt the mirror up a bit, and the beam of sunlight strikes the troll full in the face, and his face and eyes begins turning slowly to stone. You hear him give out a. His whole body is not turned to stone, but he is now swinging his club blindly through the air. The other troll has noticed and is rushing towards you.
Yes! That's a good thing.
Aliri, Warsong, what are you doing? Ranny, you're unconscious.
Okay,
Welcome to my
but they're rushing towards us, towards the sunlight.
The one troll is, yes.
Look at me.
I am going to. I need him to run past me.
Where is the edge of the woods? I mean, are we in the edge? Like, there's more.
I mean, if you're standing in the light, I mean,
No, I can't do that. I
that
can't.
I would
throw-
assume you're on the other side of the forest gate.
I can't throw my spear, right?
You can throw your spear, but you're not in the rearward stance, so that, yeah, probably not. Like, mechanically, you can't.
Right. We need him to get to the sunlight before I can move forward, so I guess I'm gonna.
Well, wouldn't.
So one of them is being turned to stone, which is pretty much occupying him while he's swinging around crazily. Hopefully he doesn't hit her because she's unconscious and that would kill her. The other one's running towards us. So at the moment,
Do we both get to move? Like, do I get another move?
Yeah, it is. That was your turn. So it's just Illyria's turn now. So Illyria, what are you doing? That's what I need to ask.
I am. I think I'm staying put.
Okay.
How's your riddle?
2.
I mean,
What? Do you have an idea for riddle other than "come get me," which he's already doing?
Can she take my mirror?
Yeah, but the problem is we need that mirror to stay focused on the thing because it's not fully turned into stone yet. He
Oh.
needs to be kept. I thought of that already, but no, because right.
You could potentially trick it to end up actually following you out into the light.
Oh yeah, talk to him.
I am in the light. I want him to. Oh, isn't
Right.
he running towards me right now?
He is, but he might be smart enough at this point and not pissed off enough to actually follow you out into the light. He might.
You can mock him and. Try to
Okay.
hit him.
I mean, it's better than nothing, right? But what's the worst that could happen?
Mock him and try to.
Okay. I'm going to mock him. Oh, I got the uglier troll of the 2.
Give me a riddle roll.
All right.
Watch this be the eye.
Oh no! I hope not.
All I'm gonna say is if your total shadow gets to double your maximum hope, something bad gonna happen.
Oh,
Am I rolling this?
Go. I mean, you have to roll at some point.
well, they spoofed you on
I
11.
missed. Wait, is it a, does he roll against me?
Yes. Yes, he does.
Be stupid, troll. Be stupid.
It's always that last riddle roll that gets you.
Oh, man.
Ah.
That's his last riddle roll anyway.
The troll barrels forward, turns to you and runs towards you, Illyri. Stepping out into the sunlight as he raises his club above his head. He fossilizes as his club stops in place about 2 inches above your skull. Let's see. It's the other troll's turn. He's currently blind, so he's going to attack at random. Just lashing out with his club. That was at -6.
That doesn't hit though.
11.
It's an 11.
He in 10, though, right?
Yep.
13 is 10?
He's down, yeah.
Yeah, so, Ranny, you are dying.
Okay. Our turn. War song. What is it doing to him right now? The light.
Where the light has hit, you can see places where the skin has started to turn to stone, but it's almost like there's not quite enough exposure to complete the effect.
So we need more sunlight. So she's going to call him so that he can follow the sound of her voice. Like, just come and get me if you can. I'm the one that did that to you.
That's enough. It's in post.
All right. Very good. You can give me an awe or a riddle roll.
Ooh, I'll do all. And Sigaroon is helping me by barking.
Barking. Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, the troll kind of blindly turns and starts stumbling in your direction.
Mostly because I want to know if it's Gandalf. Wait, Honey?
Let's say, how?
Okay, he's coming, so that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
he slowly starts stumbling towards you.
I'm going to run around him because he's blind, right?
He is
And
blind.
and pick up Rainy.
Okay.
What do I need to do for that? Do I just do that?
You don't really, you don't need to roll anything for that. I will see if he notices you enough to take a swing at you. He does. As you kind of start to skirt around him, he just kind of blindly club swings out and takes a swing at you. At a -6 to hit. Misses. Whoosh. above your head. All right, and the troll stumbles forward, trying to. And there are now 2 angry troll statues before the forest gate.
Oh my gosh!
Girls fight trolls with sunlight, I guess.
The mirror ended up being a really good call.
Did! And I have herb lore and I have leechcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're able to.
Crap too.
Yeah, you're able to set some of Rainy's bones and get her back to breathing normally without really a whole lot of trouble. However, it is beginning to get dark.
We're moving quickly.
Yeah.
So you can all catch your breath. So you all recover your basic heart, except for you, Rainy. You only recover 2.
Is she? She's injured.
She's it counts as having a treated wound.
Okay.
All right.
The way this has been working, I still I've been gaining endurance. I haven't lost any endurance.
Well, that happens when you run away from fights.
Yeah, well.
Narrowly.
All right. Where are you guys headed?
Rainy's house.
Mornings.
All right. So you begin to head for the land of the Bjornings. At this point, Frar joining you as well. Let's see. From the
Thanks, Frar.
dwarves are not heroes. It says so in The Hobbit. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3. All right, it'll be about 80 miles to Rainy's house. Over. Let's see.
Is your horse right now? Oh, so you have to get you the magic bullet.
All right, it will take you about 4 days to get there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna need each of you to give me a fatigue test at TN 12.
Okay.
Including me?
Yep.
Really?
Conscious.
I'm carrying her.
You've all got to give me a fatigue test at TN 12. Like, you're not carrying the whole time. It's a 4-day journey, so eventually she's able to walk.
Is that meant? You made it though.
15.
The hunt is now at 15.
Is it still supposed to be 16 on?
No, you're in freelance now, so the threshold is now 20.
We made it.
But
The orcs show up.
All right, and so after badly harrowed, exhausted from your journey, after 4 days of passing through the green vales of the Anduin, you enter the land of the Bjornings, and you sight Rainy's village ahead of you. And that is where we will pick up next week as we wrap up this adventure. You guys still do not know the fate of your 2 companions.
True.
So,
maybe the Graven will come tell you.
I was about to say.
first of all,
we gain shadow.
you gain shadow.
How much?
If you have a companion, if your fellowship focus was weary or wounded by the end of the session, you gain 1 point of shadow. You also gain a point of shadow for abandoning your friends to their fate.
Okay. So what happens when your shadow is twice your normal hope?
We'll talk.
Okay.
You try and burn down her village.
What is your? You're weary or wounded, right? War song.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Then I don't get. I just have. I mean, I am. It's twice my hope, but.
You get a hope, Amanda.
I do get a hope. Okay, I'm back up to 2 hope.
And Ranny does too.
Hey.
2 hope, 18 shadow.
Oh my word.
That's crazy pants. You're basically like you're like his twerpy wannabe, the little guy, Raid baby from the last movies. Kylo Ren. You're basically Kylo Ren now.
I'm Kylo Ren?
Yes, you're Kylo Ren
That's
now.
where you went with that? Okay.
Yeah,
Alright. I'm Kylo Ren. Did
I'm
not see
sorry.
that coming.
at all times. I do not want to go back to the light, but I feel it pulling me.
All right, we're gonna stop right there. Ben, you have a backup character in the wings. Jonathan, I know that we've talked about something before, so if you want to play that character, I think they're actually already set up, so I can just give you control of their character sheet.
Luis, which character are you gonna play?
Where is that guy?
What? What'd you say, Jonathan?
He said you will find out.
Oh.
If I haven't set a sheet up, then I'll get it set up and you can enter your stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think I actually hadn't set it up yet. So, okay. Thank you guys for playing. Jonathan and Ben, sorry about your characters. The Morwen's not, though. And you guys have basically left that unattended. And so it's going to get harder and harder to deal with.
Well, Angie really hates her guts.
That's true.
Specifically, so
That is true.
super weird and like juvenile for putting her like first initial on everything, even though he doesn't know that's what she's actually doing.
Yeah, it's actually not her first initial. But anyway. All right. Well, thank you guys for playing. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks.